Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF outflows have dropped to their second lowest since the ETF started trading, and Solana has yet another airdrop. Bitcoin and Solana daily, let's talk about it. Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin and Solana. So not too much going on in the markets today, but what is going on is quite large. So let's dive right into today's video. We're going to start off with the news for Bitcoin and Solana. I'm actually going to do a very small update on the equity markets, and then we're going to dive into the Bitcoin and Solana analysis. So starting off with the news for Solana. Solana has yet another airdrop, and this is MagicEden's. Now MagicEden did an airdrop quite some time ago with one of their NFT collections, and yet again we've got another one. So basically, if you've interacted with MagicEden on Phantom before, then you're eligible for rewards. So I'll show you how to go and claim these. First of all, you're going to want to head over to the MagicEden website, go up to the top right, connect your wallet, and connect to your Phantom wallet. Once you've connected, in the top right, you want to click on the diamond button, and you can see here that you should be able to claim diamonds if you've interacted with MagicEden before on Phantom. Now, the more volume that you've put through on MagicEden with Phantom, then the more diamonds you're suspected to get. And also, if you've purchased a lot of quote-unquote blue chip NFT projects, then you'll also be assigned extra diamonds. So let's click down on the claim diamonds. Let's see what one of my accounts has been claimed. If we come over to next, you can see on this particular account, we've got about 150 SOL worth of volume traded. If we click on next, let's see how much is claimable. We've got 2,500 diamonds that we can claim. Now, so far in terms of diamonds, that's it. We don't have any sort of clue on if there's going to be like a locked supply. We don't know anything about the tokenomics. We don't know if this is going to be eventually something that we'll be able to swap for, say, USDT or USDC over on Jupiter. So at this moment in time, it doesn't have any value. We don't know if it will ever have a value, but nonetheless, it's a free airdrop claim, so you might as well go claim it. The worst thing that could happen is it's never worth anything. The best thing that could happen is, maybe they assign a USDC valuation to this at some point in time. So there we go, yet another airdrop for Solana. Now, moving on to the Bitcoin news. Not too much to update, but what we do have to update is very nice. We've been keeping you up to date on this over on the channel. We've been looking at the total inflows and outflows for all of these spot ETFs over on Bitcoin. And as you can see, all of the spot ETFs, all of these ETFs have been having positive inflows. However, Grayscale, throughout the entirety of the Grayscale spot ETF, as soon as it got converted over on the 11th of January, we've just been seeing major outflows because, people already had GBTC before it went on the spot ETF and before it got converted. So a lot of people were looking to take profit. So it is what it is, but we've been detailing this on the channel. When it first came out on the 11th, not a lot of people knew about it straight away, but the next day was obviously, massive outflows, 500 million. Since then, almost every day we've been seeing 500 million, 600 million, 450 million. And then we talked about the trend changing over in the past few weeks or so. And then following the data on the 1st of February, we've seen 182 million worth of outflows. Now, we've just received an update for day 16 on how the outflows were on February the 2nd, and it was 145 million. So this was the second smallest selling day for GBTC. So this is very nice. In other news, in the month of January, cryptocurrency monthly exchange volume just hit a new all-time high, up at 1.15 trillion, all-time high for the past year. And in the past 3 months, we've seen exchange volume double for Europe and North America-based cryptocurrency exchange platforms. Bitcoin's hash rate was surging into new all-time highs in the month of January, and for the first time since the spot Bitcoin ETFs went live and we saw that slight correction back down in price action, if we're coming over to the balances on exchanges, we've just talked about how there's finally starting to see some upside in terms of inflows heading into the market. Because of this, we're looking at the Bitcoin balances on exchanges, and they have started to come down in a meaningful way. So supply is being taken off the market, which I don't need to tell you that is very, very nice. So there we go. That's all of the news I wanted to talk about today for Bitcoin and Solana. Let's very, very quickly do like a 60-second segment on the S&P 500. So diving into the on-chain. This basically tracks Wall Street strategist equity allocations. And at this moment in time, we're not seeing a huge inflow of new equity allocations. And this ties into our next indicator. If we come over to the insider transaction ratio, you can see that this actually just had a very meaningful spike into bearish territory in January. And this had a very, very large correction back down to the downside, coming into pretty much neutral territory at this moment in time. So while one indicator is showing us that in terms of sell side consensus, we are still, potentially looking at a bigger move to the upside to come in the following weeks or months, there are a couple of others, such as, the global equity risk and the insider transaction ratio, showing us that we could be approaching, a very, very euphoric signal. Now, this doesn't always mean, for example, in this one over here, if we're looking at the global equity risk, when we're looking at this sentiment indicator, you can see often when we push above the 1 level over on this chart, we are moving into euphoric territory. However, sometimes this calls the top in the equity market. However, what normally happens is you see, like, for example, let's say down here, you had a bear market low in 2009. Down here, you had a bear market low in 2023. And if we're coming over and we're looking at this, you can see these spikes in euphoria often mean you've got a slight correction coming back down to the downside. But if you are in a bull run and you're going to start a new bull run for equities, you tend to see it top out again and again and again and again, and these just have corrections along the way while you keep on coming up to the upside. So we're seeing our first top since 2022, and the S&P 500 is currently pushing up into new all-time highs. So what does all of this data tell me at this moment in time? Very, very simply, well, what do I think is going to be happening for the equity market? I think the equity market is going to retest its previous all-time high at some point, but like I've been saying, it'd be very nice to see everything tie in with the Bitcoin halving. I'd like to see the equity market, and I think the equity market will continue to push up through Q1, and I think we could potentially do very, very well for the next month or so, and then we could have a macro healthy correction. The S&P 500 could retest its previous all-time high, and then it could start rushing up into a new cycle. This is if we manage to narrowly avoid a recession. So why do we care if the S&P 500 is rallying? Well, if the S&P 500 is rallying and the Nasdaq is rallying and risk on assets are rallying, well, Bitcoin will probably follow. So if we're coming over to the Bitcoin charts, everything's looking pretty nice. If we're coming over to the 8-hour time frame, you can see this was clearly a bottom down here at 38,500. We were talking about this on the channel. We back tested this previous high back in November. This was previous resistance. We back tested it as support. We are zooming to the upside right now, and the 8-hour above the TMAs, the EMA ribbons are flipping bullish. Everything's looking very nice right now. If we come over to the daily time frame, we're seeing a slightly different picture, but I think we're starting to warm up into this. We are fighting with the 50 TMA. Now, I've been telling you on the channel, guys, how it's so important that we manage to get above that level, and that's really my update for Bitcoin. I don't want to, beat a dead horse. I don't want to be one of these YouTubers that's like, okay, we're going to make a daily update for the sake of it, and, we're going to talk about the exact same chart for 5 minutes again. No, my thoughts. If you watched the previous video, I'm going to keep it simple. I still need to see Bitcoin above 43,300. That's the level to beat. I think we're coming for this level. I think probably in the next 24 hours, we're going to break above it. Once we have that daily close, in my opinion, that is the long confirmation. So with that being said, let's move into the altcoin technical analysis. In terms of the altcoin technical analysis and the macro, guys, we're looking at the same thing. In terms of Ethereum, like we talked about, this is kind of setting up, in my opinion, what I think is going to be the next major alt season. I think Bitcoin is going to take that final run to the upside to 53,000. I think it's then going to cool off coming into the halving. I think while Bitcoin is cooling off, Ethereum's going to rally. We're going to have an alt season. And what do you think is going to happen on Solana? Well, Solana looks like it's already making its decision. Let's talk about it. On the daily time frame, we've just got a long confirmation on the 50 TMA. Solana's closed a daily candle body close above $98. That's the 50 TMA. At this moment in time, we've just got a long confirmation. Now, what would I be looking at to enter my trade at this moment in time? Well, coming over to the 1 hour time frame, we haven't had the most convincing bounce that we're just going to, start mooning at this moment in time. I think this is because we're coming down to the $100 region, and we're kind of deciding at this moment in time, are we going to, hold $100 as support? So personally, I'm going to be moving a little bit risk on at this moment in time. I don't want to enter a trade at this very second. What I'm going to be looking at is to enter a trade round about the $100 region. Now, round about $100, that is, I think that's a very good risk to reward ratio. If we start coming back down to the 50 TMA after that region, if we clear up everything that's going on here, clear up this, clearing up that, if we start coming back down to this 50 TMA, this could look something like an M pattern, and at which point you'd probably want to be out of the market because the daily stochastic RSI is topped out. Just because the stochastic RSI is topped out doesn't mean that we can't continue further to the upside. It just means that, it probably might reset a tiny bit lower, maybe retest like 97, 96 or something before pushing up higher. So, that's what I'm looking at right now. I really want to enter a trade around about $100 for Solana. Bear in mind, I'm talking about the UK time frame as well, by the way. So, for me, we've already opened a new daily candle body close. If you're in the US, it might be a few more hours. So I just keep your eyes on around about $100. Potentially, let's say in 5 hours or so, if, Solana still hasn't come back down to $100, but, Solana's holding really, really strong around that $100 region, and we have that daily close in the US time frame, that might be when I'm looking to enter a trade. So I'll keep you updated. Make sure you come and join my Discord. That could potentially be something I share over on my Discord. But that is all I've got for today, guys. Solana is looking really, really strong right now. You know what I've been talking about. You know what I think for Solana. While the daily's topped out, it's starting to turn back up to the upside. And typically, if the daily stochastic RSI tops out, it starts to correct and then it flips back bullish. That's normally a sign that you're going to have an absolutely disgusting knee-jerk reaction to the upside. So if I was looking at a trade, I'd be looking from this high to the low, down here at the 618 Fibonacci, around about $108. So that's what I'm looking at, guys. If we're looking at the weekly time frame as well, look at this. We had this correction. The correction was happening in a bull flag. We bottomed, we flipped previous resistance to support, and the weekly stochastic RSI is about to bottom, guys. This is absolutely crazy. We've only got a few more days left of the week. Coming into the new weekly close, it's very, very likely that the stock is going to be somewhere down here, and that's going to be the bottom. So honestly, in the next few days or so, I think Solana is going to be absolutely primed to start flying to the upside. We're above the 50 TMA. We're above the EMA ribbons. The EMA ribbons are very, very tight right now, but they're starting to expand, which is a sign that we've already had the most explosive phase, and we're gearing up for a very, very quick move back to the upside. So $107 in the immediate short term. Then I think Solana is going to come up to around about $138, the 1.236 fib. Around about the 1.618 up here is $157. And I believe this comes into beautiful confluence on the weekly time frame with the 618 fib somewhere near around that region, about $170. And bear in mind, this is a 70% increase. Look at the weekly stock. It's not a long shot to say that Solana could go up 70% from here before cooling down into the Bitcoin halving. If we're getting ready for that alt season, if Ethereum really does find this bottom here, Bitcoin goes up to 53,000, then it starts stalling out, then things are going to be looking very, very nice. So guys, look, like I said, obviously the daily candle body close is a little bit early for me in the UK, but for me, at least right now in the UK, we've opened a new daily candle, and Bitcoin looks like it wants to push above the 50 TMA. So keep your eyes on it in your time frame. Really, the US is going to be the major one. But for today, guys, that's all I've got. Hope you enjoyed the content. As always, I'll see you tomorrow. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades with another update on Bitcoin and Solana daily. If you enjoy the content, smash the like button, share the videos with your friends, leave a comment down below. I'm out. Peace.